What's up, Ocean? You got Matt here, coach of your Montreal Milotics, bringing you our draft analysis for Season 4 of the NCP. Today, I'm going to go over my team and why I believe it is absolutely broken in today's metagame, in the post-Crown Tundra metagame for competitive Pokemon. I am so excited for this season. We are just coming off our first title in a Wi-Fi league in the BBR. And guys, believe me, BBR is starting up soon enough, but this is November 8th, if I'm not mistaken, meaning you guys should have been able to check out the draft stream that was up on D-Ray's YouTube channel or his Twitch, one of the two. Don't really know which one it is yet at this point. But over there, I do explain all of my picks, and all the other coaches do as well. We go order from coach to coach, kind of hopping in and out, so make sure to go and check that out. As always, guys, I do want to say, if you are new to the channel and you guys like Draft League content, if you guys want to learn alongside me how to get better at this game, watch someone who really loves this game and who wants to learn and get better every step of the way, then make sure to subscribe to the channel. We are out here bringing you guys the best sets that we possibly can. Anyways, let's go ahead and jump into it. This was a points draft, and because of that, we have a lot of flexibility when it comes to the way we want to draft. Do we want to draft a very balanced playstyle, or do we want to draft very top-heavy? Some teams, like Shuckle King, decide to draft super top-heavy. Other teams, not really sure which ones, decide to draft more even-keeled. We kind of fall somewhere in between that. We have a very top-heavy team, but our bottom mons are really good, even though they are less expensive. So let's go ahead and start off. We had the 5th pick in the draft, and I'm thinking like I can get some dope things. I'm really looking forward to using Torrent. I think Torrent is going to be the best Pokemon in this generation. Unfortunately for me, it did get sniped. The good news is I was able to find something that I felt to be really solid, a really good Pokemon, not at the 18 point tier, which is the highest amount that you could have, and I believe 120 was our total points that we had, or I think it was 110 actually. I think it was 110. Anyways, the highest that we could have was 18. I ended up getting, for 17 points, Tapu Koko. Yes, this Pokemon is back, and it's the same. Let's be honest. We all thought it was getting close combat. We all thought it was getting Rough. We all thought it was getting Rising Voltage. It does not get any of those, but I still picked it up. Why? Its speed tier, at least 130, is phenomenal. Having access to Electric Surge to boost its electric attacks on top of Stab is so valuable. I find it's going to be incredibly difficult for opponents to switch in on. It's an amazing pivot. Look at all the resistances it has. Dark, Electric, Fighting, Flying, Bug, Immunity to Dragon is a really good starting off point. Kind of the weird type to kind of pick first, I'd say. Tapu Koko is one of the Pokemon this generation that are very, very difficult to switch into because, again, insanely powerful attacks from its electric stab, from the electric terrain boosted moves. It's got momentum for days. It's got great support options. I find it's just an incredible Pokemon overall, and ideally it should be a really solid piece for our team and one of the backbones for the entire league and one of the MVPs. Even though it may not get the most kills, it definitely will be one of the scariest Pokemon to deal with, bar none. It fits so well on so many different playstyles. The bad news is we need to make sure that our opponents cannot abuse our electric terrain, which is something I do want to address as we get into the draft. And I do make sure we have a couple really solid answers to electric types, a couple good immunities, 1 or 2 really good resists. So we'll go ahead and cover those when we get to them. Next up though, I was looking at kind of hoping to get Urshifu Rapid Strike. I thought that would be a fantastic pairing to pair with Tapu Koko, or Dracovish. Dracovish would be amazing as well. I was thinking like if I can get one of those two, I'll be really happy. Backup would be Keldeo. You guys saw the thumbnail. We did not get either of those. They got sniped from us, which does suck, but it is what it is. We end up grabbing Keldeo here. Now, Keldeo is phenomenal as well. Getting access to Flip Turn this generation gives him momentum, meaning he does not have to just, I don't know, stay in and go for Icy Wind against an incoming Dragon type or against an incoming Grass type or something. It can go for Flip Turn, gain momentum, get into a more favorable matchup. Another good thing, Air Slash, very, very valuable. Its speed tier is really solid at 108. Special attack, very strong. 129 is huge. Its ability kind of does nothing for it, which is unfortunate unless you're running like a Swords Dance set, which again, no one really does. But at the end of the day, Keldeo provides us with a fighting type and a water type, which are 2 very phenomenal typings. Water types will allow me to decimate the ground types that are going to be coming in and taking hits from Koko. Very valuable, especially both of them have U-turn or flip turn in the case of Keldeo. I can really form an amazing core that can just gain momentum on everything until I get a favorable matchup and just destroy my opponent's team, punch a hole in it, and then go in with Koko or Keldeo or one of my later on picks. I find it's a very strong pairing. The only issue is both my first 2 Pokemon, they are kind of walled by grass types, even though both of them get flying coverage in Brave Bird and Air Slash. I find that we have a couple other options that we can do to really mitigate that grass weakness and make it so it's a lot better. Because right now we got ground on check. Ground, yeah, we are resisted or immune. Grounds are immune to Koko's attacks, but we have U-turn that we can get into to get into Keldeo and just fire off Scalds, Hydro Pumps, whatever the case may be, and decimate them. Moving on, our next pick is going to be Scizor here. Now, Scizor is a fantastic pairing. Keldeo with 16 points, Scizor is 15 points. This is a really solid mod because it's only weak to fire. Keldeo resists that pretty well, so that's good news. It's very bulky. It's the Pokemon that gains momentum non-stop. It also destroys fairy types, very valuable because Keldeo is weak to them. And at the same time, Koko, while it is not weak to them, fairy types can get really, really bulky. And if I can fire off Technician boosted bullet punches, it's going to do a huge amount of damage to fairy types on my opponent's rosters. Its speed leaves a bit to be desired, but the good news is because of its only weakness to fire, people really want to get good matchups with Scizor. People really want to take advantage of that, switch into something that will be able to take a U-turn. They'll be able to deal with the damage it wants to do back to you. So you can fire off a very powerful U-turn, a stab U-turn nonetheless, from a Pokemon with 130 base attack, get into a more favorable threat. And again, if my opponent decides to go into their Tangrowth or something on my Keldeo or on my Koko, in comes Scizor, I can fire off a Bug Bite or a U-turn, do a huge amount of damage, or even just set up for all I know. Very good. The good news is now we have two defoggers, two reliable ones at that with Koko and with Scizor. I find it to be a very good pairing. These three are going to be very, very solid. Hopefully, we can kind of continue this synergy that we've got going on. We've got a really good Steel type, we've got a really good Fairy type. Hopefully, we can make a really good Dragon type to kind of get our Fairy Dragon Steel core popping. We do want to make sure that they're not kind of sharing too many weaknesses. That is important to note. Let's go ahead and jump into the next mon, and it is going to be Arcanine. Now, Arcanine was really cool. I really want to get this thing because it allows me to, again, it pressures steel types, but it also pressures grass types. I find that's very important for us to do. At this point, we need to have ways to switch in on things and just take hits. It also provides me with Intimidate, and another thing, it gives me an answer to fire types that's not Keldeo. So I have Flash Fire now. I also have a very bulky boy in the Arcanine here. No immunities unless it's running Flash Fire, but Intimidate is very valuable. Teleport this generation is essentially a -6 baton pass. Very, very helpful to allow us to get into a more favorable matchup. At this point, all four of our mons have momentum, and they all run it very well. I don't really have to worry about running boots on Arcanine all the time because I have two phenomenal defoggers in Tapu Koko and in Scizor. I can freely run Extreme Speed, Morning Sun, Flare Blitz, special moves. I can run Play Rough or Crunch or whatever. Arcanine's coverage is so wide, I don't want to be locked into running a defensive set every week. I want to be able to be offensive and just decimate teams the way Arcanine really can do with its powerful stabs, its powerful stats, excuse me. I really think this is a phenomenal pick for us. Next up, though, was the Rhyperior. This is going to be our ground type for the season. I have never used Rhyperior, but I'm excited for it. It does what I want it to do, and that is it stops electric types in their tracks. A lot of them, they get grass coverage or water coverage now, which is unfortunate. The good news is we have so many answers to electric types, to grass types, to water types now. Not yet, but soon. We have so many answers to those typings that I'm not too worried about having the 4x weaknesses on Rhyperior. The good news is as well, it has 115 HP, meaning its base 55 special defense isn't too much of a negative because even though they're firing off, I don't know, an Energy Ball or a Giga Drain, Rhyperior can take the hit unless it's like Stab from an offensive Pokemon. I feel like Rhyperior definitely has a really solid fit on this team, and I'm hoping that we can prove that because it is going to be our first Stealth Rocker so far, and one of the only ones we have this entire season. We only actually have 2 Rockers this whole season. Now at this point, we are developing a very noticeable ground weakness, and I really hate that because ground is one of the most spammable types in the game. Obviously, there are a lot of ways to get around it. Levitate and flying types are one of them, or 2 of them rather, but we need to have a way to just take the hits. I really was looking at getting Zarude here. Zarude would have been fantastic for me. The reason I'm saying that is because it gets U-turn, it's a dark type as well, which is very useful for a ghost resist, for a dark resist, for an immunity to psychic as well, very strong. Unfortunately, Zarude got sniped. And that's unfortunate because, well, it gave me a speed tier I wanted as well at 105, which would have been really nice. The good news is we have a way around that, and I did end up sniping Liv here, I believe, and I'm going to be going ahead and grabbing Celebi. Now, Celebi is a mon that I did not expect to be drafting again. I think I've drafted it once before, and I swept my buddy Tails with it, and that was a long time ago. If you guys remember that set, like, that was Ancient Power back in, like, the Discord Draft League days. That's, like, 3 years ago now. This Pokemon, it's got wide coverage, it's got access to U-turn, it's got access to Stealth Rocks, it's a reliable pivot, it gets access to recovery. Natural Cure is a solid ability to make sure that you can't be just toxic stalled out because you can just switch out, cure the toxic, and then get back in as quickly as possible. It has a ton of resistances. The only issue is, look at all those weaknesses. Flying, Fire, Poison, Dark, Ghost, Ice, and 4 times weak to Bug, most notably U-turn. Good news is, like I said before, we have quite a few answers to Bug types. We also have quite a few answers to Ice types, to Poison types, and soon to be to Flying types. So I feel very confident that we can make Celebi work. It also checks the types that Rhyperior is weak against pretty well, so I'm hoping that we can have a really solid core. These first 6 mons are going to be our bread and butter, and ideally we can have them be coming to most weeks. I think they're going to be coming to at least, I'll say like 70% of the weeks. But we have a lot of really strong mons that are left. So let's go ahead and get into the next one. But before I do want to say, at this point, I know what flying type I want to get. I want to make sure I have a ground immunity. I want to make sure I have something that can resist fire, that can resist grass, that can resist water. So I'm looking at Dragonite or Salamence. And I know for a fact I can get one of the two. The Pokemon I'm waiting for instead, the Pokemon I'm grabbing right now, is going to be something that is very valuable to our team that I did not think was going to make it back to me. And that's going to be a Alolan Persian. Now, Alolan Persian was only 8 points. So at this point, we have used up a ton of our budget. We only have 30 points left for 4 mons, which is, again, it's not bad at all because the Dragon and the Flying type I want, Salamence or Dragonite, are 15 points. So it's not too bad. I'll have 15 points left for 3 mons, which is definitely doable. And I know exactly what I want for those 3 mons, or 2 of those 3 mons, I know exactly what I want. But Persian, what it does is it provides so much support and utility to the team. Getting a Parting Shot and U-turn is super valuable. I can lower stats of something, switch in to a big threat like a Calm Mind and Keldeo, like a Swords Dancing Scizor. I believe that Coco even gets some setup options too, if I'm mistaken. I could be wrong on that. I'm pretty sure I'm wrong on that. But regardless, I can come into something, set up for game, go for the win, or again, I can just get myself into a more favorable position and really knock something down. It provides me with 2 key resistances to Dark and to Ghost, most notably to Ghost because I don't have one of those yet. Very important. It gives me Fur Coat as an ability to be very bulky as well. With its speed, the fact that it gets Nasty Plot, its decent coverage options, I can effectively run an offensive set with Nasty Plot that really does wonders for my team. It can be really difficult for my opponent to switch in on if they decide, or if they don't expect it rather. It's got an immunity to Psychic, which my team desperately needed considering that we have, at this point, 2 resistances and everything else is neutral or super effective. So I felt like it was good to have an immunity, and its speed is also fantastic, bridging the gap between Keldeo and Tapu Koko. Very, very useful here. Found that this was probably the best Dark type I could get at this range. Was kind of thinking about maybe getting Drapion as a way to absorb Toxic Spikes. Unfortunately, Drapion did get taken. It was also, I think, a point more than Persian Alolan form, so I find that this was definitely going to fit a lot better on the team. And we can go ahead and now move on to the next one. Now, at this point, like I said, Dragonite, Salamence, those are my 2 big ones that I want to get. My 2 flying types, my 2 dragon types. Unfortunately for me, the one that I really wanted was Salamence, but it got sniped, and that really sucks because going forward, you're going to see exactly why. But that does mean we can end up grabbing Dragonite right here. And the reason why I wanted Dragonite is because I just could not afford to lose this thing. I had to make sure 100% I had this on my roster, because if I didn't, if it got sniped, my flying type was going to be terrible, and I could not have that. I need to have a much better way to deal with ground types, and Dragonite deals with that. It gives me immunity to ground. It's weak to Fairy, Rock, Dragon, and Ice, but I cover those types very well. We definitely cover this Pokemon well. And add Parting Shot onto this. Add Heavy Duty Boots with a Multiscale. I get it on rocks for free. I'm at full HP. Multiscale is intact. Let me click that Dragon Dance and let me click the win button, because that is what this Pokemon is going to do. Very excited for what it does. It gives me a lot of key resistances. The big one is fighting and fire there, I find. Water as well is kind of key, considering that I only have my Celebi and my Keldeo that are resisting water. And again, Keldeo doesn't want to be too defensive. But again, now we have the Dragonite. Unfortunately, I think there I wrote 85 speed. It should be 80 speed. It's my mistake. But yeah, I'm excited to use Dragonite. I have never used it before. It always felt so underwhelming as a tier 1 pick in Gen 7 draft. But for the tier it was in at 15 points, definitely felt it was worth the while. Things be very cool with Heavy Duty Boots introduced into the metagame for it. It's got great coverage options. I really wish it got Flip Turn. I feel like it should get Flip Turn. Unfortunately, it doesn't, but Dragonite is here nonetheless. Round 8 is a phenomenal pickup for us, and I feel it's going to be super, super valuable for the team. Our next mon, you're going to see where we're going with this, is going to be the Abomasnow. Now, Abomasnow was not my first option for a Hail Setter. My first option for a Hail Setter was going to be the Vanillux, and that would give me fewer points, which meant my pick after this would be a lot less exciting. But Abomasnow gives me exactly what I needed to. It gives me priority, it gives me an Ice type that sets Hail, it gives me Veil, which is very nice, and that's pretty much it. That's all I need. I really did not need anything more. It gives me a 4 times weakness to fire, a second one with Scizor. The good news is, like I said, I have so many answers to fire types now. I have Rhyperior, I have Keldeo, I have Arcanine, I have Dragonite. That is plenty. I don't need more than that. But that's more than enough. They're going to come, at least 1, probably 2 of those are coming to every single game. Honestly, probably 3 of those are coming to every single game. So I feel very confident in having Abomasnow on my roster. And again, I never need to bring Abomasnow or bring Hail, but just the fact that I have it there means my opponents have to prep for it. They have to be ready for something in the back that's going to be firing off attacks, and it's going to be very, very scary. Our next mon is going to pair very well with the Tapu Koko, and that's going to be our Drifblim. Drifblim, what? Yeah, this thing gets Unburden, so I can just fire off. my Electric Seed. Pop that, boost my speed by 2 stages, get Acrobatics, that max power. I have ways to boost up my stats, I think in Calm Mind, and I think this thing gets Nasty Plot now. That's just, it's strong. It is strong. It's a really kind of crazy way to get around certain things, but the biggest thing is it gives me a Ghost type. It's immune to fighting, it's immune to normal, it's immune to ground types as well because it's a flying type, so that's the biggest thing. Is it going to come to too many games? Probably not. I'd say 2 games, and probably just 1 game, and yeah, but the good news is, with Strength Sap, this thing gets Strength Sap, yeah, it's crazy, right? I can wall a lot of things. With the Will-O-Wisp, I can wall a lot of things. It gets Hex. Very, very solid answers. I can run a Citrus Berry set to pop my Unburden, outspeed things, and just go to town. Aftermath, to do a huge chunk of damage to something after killing me. And Flare Boost, if I really want to. I don't have to, I probably won't, but Flare Boost could be pretty cool. I think this is a very cool set. I think it really takes advantage of our team well. It's very helpful. Obviously, it is weak to electric types, and I have electric terrain, but we have ways around that. And I definitely feel that Drifblim is going to be one of the key pieces to keeping a lot of Pokemon away from certain matchups, because again, even though I may not bring it, I have it in the back, it is a threat. Our final Mon. I had to get this. Alolan Sandslash was available, but I did not go Alolan Sandslash. I have 6 points left. Alolan Sandslash was 6 points, but so was Arctozolt. Why the hell did I take Arctozolt? Why? Well, Arctozolt gets Volt Absorb. That's nice. It gets Slush Rush as well. That's cool too. I mean, it's only got 55 base speed, which means it outspeeds a lot of things that aren't Scarf. It outspeeds Dragapult that isn't Scarf, which is nice. In Hail, of course. Issue is, its speed ties base 90s, while we're in Hail and they're Scarfed. That's not necessarily the best thing. We also have to be Jolly for that. So there's some problems with that. But again, Volt Absorb is nice because it gives us another ground, or electric immunity rather, which is very nice. But I want you to imagine this, and this is why I took it. Imagine a world. I go into Abomasnow or something. I have my Icy Rock. Hail's up for 8 turns. A couple plays happen. I U-turn. I get to Coco. Coco sets up Terrain. I then fire off a U-turn as something switches in. And oh, in comes Arctozolt. I get to fire off terrain-boosted Bolt Beaks while I outspeed from a Pokemon with 100 base attack. Are you kidding me? We are going to hit harder than a Dracovish. We will. We're going to destroy things. It is going to be so strong. We don't have to worry about hustle missing. We get to just fire off attacks without thinking and just being brain dead about it. Bolt Beam coverage, Ice and Electric coverage is so freaking good, and we have that in a Pokemon. Is this going to come a lot? Probably not, but it's going to come enough to the point where my opponents are going to be scared of it. They will be scared of Arctozolt. Chili Cheese is here. This Pokemon is going to go in. I pick 165. Obviously, my last 3 Pokemon, they are very niche and not the greatest Pokemon overall, but they form a really unique role on the team, and that is to scare my opponents into bringing certain threats, to scare them out of bringing their ground types, because look at that. With Abomasnow and Arctozolt, who's bringing their ground type? Drifblim is immune to ground type attacks. Are they really going to bring more ground types? Who knows? I definitely feel this is a really strong roster. The reason why I said I want to get Salamence over Dragonite is because Multiscale. Multiscale is awesome to have with boots, it really is. Problem is, I have Hail, and that's going to be chipping away at the Multiscale, meaning I won't have access to it after 1 turn. So it is unfortunate, I have to keep track of that, but it's definitely manageable. So I find that that's a decent way around it. It's just going to be good enough for me to get by. I think it's going to be very solid. We were actually given the number 2 ranking of all the teams in the NCP. The only team ahead of us was Shuckle King, and we both were given 9.5s on 10s. Dai said that my team looked so much fun to use, and honestly, it really, really does. I'm so excited for it. I want you guys to let me know what Pokemon you are most excited to see me use down in the comments below. I'm going to post over here, right there, we have the schedule for the season. First, we were playing against the LA Guerrilla Tactics and their coach, Grandmaster D-Ray, a rematch of the BBR Finals. After that, we got the New York Metagross and Ultra Player 12. We had the Vegas Cinderaces and JB Westside. We had the Bullet Punch Clubs with the Uzi Gunner. We have Star Chews, which are coached by Faint Attacks. We've got the Milwaukee Melmetals, coached by Alex Cool Rocket. We got the Dallas Starmies by Shay Quaza. Shay versus Shay again. Liv and her New Orleans Saint Snow are going to be our Week 8 opponents. We then have Leo and his Durham Druddigons in Week 9. And then for the first time in a long time, we'll be playing against Vepsis and his Helsinki Hydreigons, which would be a fantastic game. We got 10 really awesome opponents to face off against, including the defending champion of this league and our rival from the BBR and D-Ray in the first 2 weeks alone. I am so excited, guys. Let me know which matchup you're excited for. Let me know which Pokemon you are super excited to see me use. I am super hyped about Arctozolt. I really am. I'm so excited to use it. I am very excited to use a lot of these Pokemon. I've never used Keldeo in the past before. I have not used Arcanine well. Never used Rhyperior before. Never used Dragonite before. There's a lot I can do. I am hoping for the best. I know we can get it done. We have such a fun team. Guys, do me a massive favor, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and we cannot do it without you. So guys, let's go ahead and do this. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all next time.